Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Yona of the Dawn, chapter 216. When we last left our heroes, the floodwaters were coming, time was just about out to save Keen Province, but Jeha and Kija had arrived to do the short-term task of saving Tak and Maya, and acting as a vanguard for the Sky Tribe army to come in and start fighting South Kai. We don't spend a lot of time with them because Judo sends Jeha and Kija right off to Keen Province proper to try to evacuate civilians. And they do a pretty good job of that. It looks like most of the civilians, thanks to Yoon's warning, are able to get out. But meanwhile, with Hawk and Ra'an, Hawk, realizing he's running out of time, quickly, beats Ra'an, goes to leave, but Ra'an's horse won't leave Ra'an, and so Hawk chooses to save the horse by putting Ra'an on its back. Ra'an and his horse get away, but Hawk is unable to get out in time for the floodwaters to come. Jeha was on the way to save him, so maybe Jeha managed to save him, but we don't really know one way or the other. So let's dive right on into chapter 216. We open as the floodwaters have passed. And we see Jeha just standing there, like shoulders slumped. Did he not save Hawk? I mean, he was right there. I don't know why he wouldn't have. But then we hear someone call, "We found him! He's still alive!" Thank goodness. And some people who have saved someone doesn't look like Hawk. That hair looks too light to be Hawk. We see Kija watches that. And someone, I'm guessing, is Kalgan. Green Dragon. White Dragon. Yoon. Oh no, this is Judo. Go back to the castle. Leave this place to us. It's been 5 days since the flooding. Go back and report the current situation to the king and Princess Yona. Okay. Did they not save Hawk? That would feel like a very, very weird place to kill off Hawk. I don't buy it. But we see, at this sort of order to kind of give up, Kija looks away kind of dejected. Yoon is like shut his eyes to fight back tears. Jeha is similarly dejected and he closes his eyes. And then we cut to Soo-Won, chapter 216, Overflowing, bringing the news of Keen Province to the king of Koka. And we see Soo-Won like in his study over a scroll. One of those things where it's kind of hard to tell if that's meant to just be a cover image or if that's the next panel. I guess it is the next panel, though, because it's Soo-Won talking. So the Green Dragon's party has returned. Then what is the situation? And he's talking with Kai-Suk. The enemy soldiers that besieged Keen Province have been repelled. Most of the water in the village has been drained, but it is in a miserable state. And Soo-Won presses, were the soldiers of the Earth Tribe led by someone? Yes. However, it seems said person was caught in the flood and is missing. That's a shame. They could have replaced General Gunte as a pillar for the Earth Tribe. But Kai-Suk pushes back. I don't think so. The name of the person that went missing is Hawk. It's the Thunder Beast. Yeah, I do like to note, though, that he only went missing, which generally in the kind of fiction means that he's definitely not dead. He is somewhere, just we don't really know where. I hope. I hope Hawk isn't dead, because it's just not a good death for him, I don't think. If Hawk dies, he should die at least thinking about or just right after talking to Yona. I think we can all kind of agree on that. Hawk dying like this just feels sort of not good. But for now, he's missing. And the realization that the person who's been helping the Earth Tribe is Hawk, and that Hawk is no longer available for the war as he's missing, kind of shakes Soo-Won. And then we have this lovely full-page panel of Yona with a completely blacked out background. I'm assuming having just heard the news. Yep, we're in a bit of a flashback as Jeha reports the situation to Yona. He's missing? And Jeha tells him, I couldn't get him out when he was caught in the flood. We only found his guando. And he presents the guando to Yona, who sort of looks at it in shock. Kija says, Princess, Jeha and I will go back and search for him again at once, so there is nothing to be concerned about. But Yona goes to comfort Kija, pushes back her own grief for his sake. You go rest. You look like you're about to fall. But, and she grabs his arm. It's all right. It's Hawk we're talking about. He's probably resting somewhere as we speak. I sure fucking hope you're right, Yona. He's all right. No doubt about it. And we see the trio, Yoon, Kija, and Jaeha are shocked at just Yona's sheer, perseverance here. So all of you go rest as well. She's, of course, very clearly hiding her own pain right there, though. And we see Kija sort of wobbles. Yona calls, Kija! And Kija falls on his ass and says, I apologize. I've lost my strength. That's right. And head in hand, for him to die, there is no way. After hearing the princess's words, I remembered his monstrous life force. And Jaeha kind of lets out a little laugh. Indeed. And Shinon notes, Hawk, he heals faster than I do, even when his wounds are more grave. And Kija, there's a bit more light and levity thanks to Yona's sort of declaration. It is as you say, every time you think he's done for, he's back on his feet again. When I first met him, he was gravely wounded, and he made a show of it. And Jaeha notes, when I met Hawk for the first time, I really tried to make him join me, but he ran away from me. He must have gotten away this time, too. There's a bit of a pause as Jaeha sighs and notes, why don't we rest a bit? If I sleep together with Yona, dear, he'll get mad and he'll be right back. Jaeha! Jaeha! And I think this is Kija, or it might be Yoon. You'll only get beat up if you do that, Green Dragon. That won't hurt me, liar. And Yona at this sort of display kind of chuckles. A bit more light left in this group. And Yona turns to Yoon. Yoon, you go rest as well, okay? Yona. And Yoon tells him, you know, General Guntae has regained consciousness. We talked about Hawk, and he said that he absolutely wanted to search for him and give us thanks for helping the Earth Tribe. So, it will be okay. Yoon is I kind of feel like Yoon is saying this almost more for himself than for Yona. Especially as Yoon has to close his eyes to fight back the tears again, and Yona, still kind of keeping what I'm assuming is a mask on, just tells Yoon, yes. But then we cut to, it's the Wind Tribe! It's the Wind Tribe for the first time in ages. I heard old man Guntae is dead. Don't jinx it. They say he got pierced by arrows. Well, I heard Keen Province was flooded and destroyed. What the hell? Man, isn't this super bad for Koka? And we have no choice but to come out. And we see Hawk's disciple in the Wind Tribe, whose name I can't remember. Let me see if I can Google. Is that, hold on. Hold on. I'm trying to flip through the names on the wiki. Really fast. I don't remember. It'll come up or it won't. Anyway, focusing on the actual chapter. What the hell? What the hell? Man, this is super bad for. I did this part. Then we have no choice but to come out. And the Wind Tribe speaks. At your request, the Wind Tribe has arrived. And Kai-suk looks over at them. You're dead last. What? The Earth Tribe isn't even here. The Earth Tribe isn't even here yet. But Kai-suk counters. The Earth Tribe doesn't have to come here in the first place, since they're in charge of protecting Keen Province and the sea. And the Wind Tribe, is he general now? His name? Right? Hold on. Here's the list of them. Is it Tae-woo was his name. Tae-woo is the general at the moment. Thank you, Yona Wiki, for the reminder. Anyway, Tae-woo presses, well, whatever. The order of arrival doesn't matter. By the way, I wanted to see Lord Hawk. He's here at the castle, right? That's the worst possible time to ask that kind of question, Tae-woo. And Tae-woo presses, when Kai-suk sort of looks at him, Tae-woo presses, you're allies, right? I want to go salute him, since we'll be fighting together this time. And Kai-suk thinks, if the Wind Tribe learns about the Thunder Beast's death, they will lose their morale. However, if the Thunder Beast isn't on the battlefield, they will find out eventually, which might cause chaos. And Kai-suk goes on, the Thunder Beast is... And Yona shows up. to tell the Wind Tribe, Hawk isn't at Hiryu Castle right now. And Taewoo was kind of shocked to see her. Princess Yona, Hawk is currently on another mission. We'll inform you and the others when he returns. And Taewoo calls out, Princess Yona! And Yona gives him this smile. Looks like it's even closer to crack. It looks kind of close to cracking. Unlike with the dragons, where she was much more placid, this looks wobbly. And she just walks right off. And Taewoo notes she left. The other Wind Tribe guy, who I believe is, thank you, Wiki, Han Dae. So yeah, Han Dae responds, even though we wanted to talk with her as well. And then we cut to somewhere else in the castle, where Ao and Ho are kind of hanging out, doing whatever the hell it is squirrel monsters do. Oh, and it's Maignan and Yoon, which would fit, having Ho there. And Maignan notes, so you didn't bring the medicine back. And Yoon apologizes, sorry. Well, it's okay, since you're safe. She's really starting to care about them. And then presses, but what about the princess? Won't she cry without the Thunder Beast? And Yoon counters, she won't. Yona is strong. She said he's alright. I want to kind of think back into 12, when Yoon told Gigon that Yona has become the kind of person who cries where no one can see. And I think Yoon is aware of that. She's a lot more hurt than she's letting on, but she's sort of putting on a show. Anyway, Yoon goes on, if that's what Yona says, I'll have to believe it as well. And then we come back to Soo-Won, who's thinking over what he's learned. Then back to what Kaisop told him, the name of the person that went missing is Hawk. And Soo-Won thinks the one who protected Kim Province was Hawk. This was the area where we were flooded. There's a possibility that when the water drained, it washed away to the opposite side of the river. And he's looking at a map, trying to work out where Hawk might be. But he kind of pushes that aside. No. And then he has what I think is a flashback. There's a mix of... Oh, so I think what's going on... I'm looking at the white and black borders here. I think what's going on is Yona is in the room with him, reading over a book. And then we have a flashback to a little earlier when she first arrived in the room, I think. Soo-Won asks, what are you doing here? And Yona pauses before answering. I want to learn about the Kai Empire and its strategies. After Keen Province and the Earth Tribe, we can't afford to lose anything else. And Soo-Won goes over, and this must be in the present, because Soo-Won goes over and puts his outer layer of his robe over Yona. So he wouldn't have it in the present. Anyway, and I didn't quite note this, but she's sort of trembling as she says that earlier line, which Soo-Won calls out, you're shaking. Won't you need this? And Yona glares at him. Stop. Don't act like my childhood friend all of a sudden. So I figured the chapter would end with Yona's sort of mask around Hawk crumbling down. Maybe she would have a private room and cry. It's happening what we're actually getting, though, is completely different. But very much related. The stress of losing Hawk means that she's now lost kind of, I think, the mental strength to keep up her mask of not hating Soo-Won. She has to be diplomatic with Soo-Won because he's the king and he has this power, and maybe he's not the worst thing for Koka in the world. But now, with Hawk gone, she no longer really has the strength to keep that mask up. She is, obviously in no way forgiven him, and I think we're about to see that. Don't act like my childhood friend all of a sudden. But she kind of regains her composure. She almost broke. Just earlier, the Wind Tribe arrived. They said they wanted to see Hawk. Tell me, Soo-Won, where is Hawk? Tell me. She's just breaking down, I think. Because she has to know there's no way Soo-Won knows. But she's just, she's been through a day. She's had a day. Where has Hawk been washed away to? Is he stuck somewhere? Can't you look into this? I thought that since it's Hawk, he would absolutely be alright. That's what I want to think, but I'm scared, and I can't stop trembling, and her tears are starting to kind of form here. Even that night when I lost everything. Even that day I took up a weapon so that I wouldn't lose Hawk. I could never really imagine him not being here. Even if we're apart, we're fighting our own battle. And when peace would be restored, someday, together we... And she thinks to herself, she can't actually bring out that someday together we, especially not in front of Soo-Won. She thinks, I want to go right now. But she says, I want to save Hawk. I want to see him. No matter how strong you are, there are some feelings you cannot bear. And continues in issue 1, December 3rd. So, okay. There's a lot of good stuff here. There's not a whole lot of plot happening. It's really just sort of the aftermath of the flood, as everyone sort of deals with both, the destruction of the village, but also, in a more immediate sense, or a more personal sense, the loss of Hawk. Because no one is really okay without Hawk. It's one thing, there is no one who we see in this chapter who is not touched, who is not negatively impacted by the events of last chapter, anywhere. Soo-Won may not really care about Hawk as a person anymore, if he ever did, but Hawk was still, a powerful soldier who would have been an incredible ally to have on the battle, in the war, but he's lost that. Also, he has to deal with the fact that the person who saved Keen Province was the man who kind of hates his guts. So there's all kinds of things for Soo-Won to have to deal with if Soo-Won was ever in the habit of dealing with his emotions. But of course, it's Yona who takes it worst. But also, to Yona's credit, she sort of keeps this mask on as long as she can. We see it. I love seeing the sort of slow, progressive crack throughout the chapter. With the dragons, she's still able to keep this mask. That little bit we get of her with the Wind Tribe, you can see her shaking. At the bottom of page 16, that smile seems a lot faker. You can start to see the sort of trembling lines that will become much bigger in her scene with Soo-Won. And then in her scene with Soo-Won, she finally breaks. And there, it's really interestingly not just because of Hawk, it's because of Soo-Won. That don't act like my childhood friend all of a sudden line is really, really good. And I'm really curious to see how that kind of concept will play out in the future. But for now, she has that moment of no, we're not at that level anymore. You cannot pamper me like this. I'm not your friend. You killed my dad. But she kind of collects herself. She can't really lash out at the king, I suppose. And focuses on a bit more of her immediate problem of just breaking down where is Hawk. You can work it out. And we see him, he is kind of trying to work it out earlier on. And Yona, just presses in, and she can't imagine any, life without Hawk. I really love that. Even at her worst, Hawk was there. Even when Il died, when she was run out of the castle, Hawk was there. And what is it like to all of a sudden not have that? And she's kind of falling apart. And I really can't wait to see how all of that plays out. Also, props to Kaisuk and Soo-Won for not bringing up the Senjutsu first thing. That would have been a real dick move, I think, given everything going on. Maignan brings it up, but Maignan's not quite in the same position as the two of them. But yeah, all in all, really good chapter. I really loved it. Yona's slow motion breakdown was, heart-wrenching, but really, really incredible. And it's gonna be a long month to next chapter. I thought because there was a month gap between last chapter and this chapter, I was hoping it'd be shorter than a month this time, but I was wrong. It's gonna be another month until 217, and I can't really wait for it. So I'm gonna leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!